Hello and welcome to another video. Today we are going to be looking at the art of Alphonse Mucha. He has some very interesting designs and a lot of them are known for appearing on tarot cards. So I'm just going to show you my process of painting them, trying to make them look more like realistic people. This is only the third portrait I've ever painted, so yeah, it's not going to be perfect, but it was fun. I'm using oil paints. It's a collection of Winsor and Newton and Gamblin, and I am painting on mixed media paper. It's one of those blue notebooks, if you know what I'm talking about. So it was a little bit more tricky to work with because it absorbed the oil pretty quickly. Usually I work on very smooth, flat finished, like wooden surfaces, and it makes the blending a lot easier. But this was more for fun. So I'm not a professional painter, and I've never been educated in painting really, but just some tips, I guess, and then I'll let you listen to the nice music. It's probably nicer than my voice. Skin tones have so many different colors, and it was a little more challenging because this is not based off of a real person, so I had to kind of depend on some of my experience, my limited experience painting portraits of people based off of their photographs. But I thought this would be kind of an interesting challenge. So skin tones have a whole arrangement of colors from pink undertones to yellow to neutral. There's green and blue, and even if a skin tone looks very one color or very singular based, a lot of the time it'll have some blue mixed in or some green or some yellow. Well, I guess green is just a mixture of yellow and blue, but you get the gist. This nose was hard because I don't know, it just kind of was. I went back and changed it a couple times. By the end you'll see that it doesn't look so sharp, but my biggest challenge is for sure the lips, which we'll get into later. Another big tip that's helpful in making your portraits look realistic, these are all very basic tips, by the way, again, this is my third portrait, but the whites of the eyes are not white, they're like a grayish yellow color, and that's why sometimes painting on a neutral color like gray or brown can be helpful. But I wanted to do more sketches, like oil sketches. I don't know, this took me 2 days to do, so I guess I wouldn't really consider it a sketch, but yeah, by the end of day one, I had kind of a good base going on. I don't really layer, I just like to paint. I think the best advice I ever got for oil painting was paint what you see, so that's what I've kind of been doing, and it seems to be working out okay. I really appreciate or respect people who do layering, because it seems more time consuming and I don't really have the patience for that, but maybe one day. So yeah, this is the part where I did the lips. This was a very preliminary shape, and I kind of showed the whole process of the first layer. I went back and changed this aggressively, so it doesn't look anything really like it ended up looking like. I spent probably 2 entire office episodes working on the lips. It's not my strongest point, but I really like doing eyes. I think that's my favorite part. And something else I love about painting, I know I said I would be quiet, I'm sorry. Something else I love about painting is that every time I do a portrait, it takes so long to do that I completely memorize every part of it. I remember every moment that I was working on that one little mark because it took its own separate mixing. I don't know, I think that's kind of cool, but maybe I'm just being dramatic. But yeah, I really loved this picture and I wanted to modernize it a little bit because I really like how much power he kind of paints into the women he painted. Even though they're very simple kind of poses, he just encircles them with flowers and these ornate designs, and I think that's so beautiful. So as you can see, I did not dedicate as much time to the neck and the décolletage as I did to the face, because at that point I was exhausted. It was many hours into day 2, and neck shading is a little simpler. On his, there was absolutely no shading at all, so I kind of had to do this from memory of how a neck looks like. So I did kind of purpley tones for the shadows, and I went back and blended it out a few times, but it was definitely helpful and saved me a lot of time and patience. The hair, I would say, is the second hardest part for me after lips, because I never really paint hair. I wanted it to be blonde, but it was covered up by a lot of flowers, so I kind of think I got it down. I painted purpley shadows and then kind of cool toned yellows, which seems a little counterintuitive. Like, it doesn't make a lot of sense. They had a lot of gray tones in them. And then I kind of slowed this part down a little bit so you could see how slowly I'm going with a much finer brush. I wish I had finer brushes, but for some reason they just always seem to be thick no matter how small I buy them. And I use these to draw the little highlights in the hair to try and make it look more realistic. And for the first time drawing hair like this, I'd say it came out pretty good in the end, so pretty happy with that. And my final challenge was the flowers. I have never really painted flowers with oil paint. I don't really paint them that often, but I'd like to practice more. For the background, I just did kind of a sage green color. I think it's really pretty, and I kind of wanted to make her look like she was in a garden, because he uses a lot of greens. I used fewer flowers than him because they drove me out of my mind. So yeah, I kind of did a gradient sage with a darker color on the outside and a lighter color on the inside, and I think it helped enhance her features a lot, because there's a lot of red tones in her face and in the flowers, and I think the contrast of the green is really nice. I also added some wisteria at the top, just for fun. It's not super detailed or anything, but it's kind of like a fun background. The information about the paintings that I do, if I'm ever kind of using inspiration or doing a study off of another artist's work, are always in the description. So if you want to see the exact name of this painting, go ahead and check down there. I think it's called Golden something. Golden. I don't have it in front of me, sorry. Just look down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you were patient with my beginner portrait skills. But yeah, let me know what you want to see next. And bye.